What up, G Life? It's your boy Into Shadow. Make sure you guys comment, make sure you guys like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if possible, share, because it does help my channel. When you guys sharing, when you guys comment, it helps YouTube throw me in the algorithm more. You know what I mean? So I would appreciate, the support. Now, what I wanted to talk about was something that was getting asked. They were telling me what's my opinion on the Hispanic truck driver that got 110 years. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say on my channel. On my channel, I'm Raza, you know what I mean? Obviously. But I'm not someone that cries wolf, you know what I mean? I'm not someone just because I'm Raza, that means I'm going to stand with my people and every uproar that they make. I only speak and defend the actions that need to be spoken on. You know what I mean? Because there's sometimes, regardless what group it is, white, black, brown, doesn't even matter, that they tend, just because, it's one of their own, that they tend to, kind of over-exaggerate it and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm someone that stands for the truth, my boy. To me, just because he's Mexican doesn't make him no less guilty than a white person and a black person, Muslim, Asian. I don't give a fuck. To me, they're all guilty until proven innocent, equally. I don't play favoritism on my channel. I don't play favoritism in life at all, in general. Maybe a little bit to my barrio, but that's about it. But overall, I could only go based on facts and the truth. That's how I am. That's how I always been. I was always told to keep it real, tell it how it is, 100, no bias, none of that bullshit. And that's the way I have always been, you know what I mean? It's just how it is. Now, with that being said, what do I think about his charges and his whole case? Because I went and I digged through the case, homie. Don't think that I was gonna go based on what these vatos are saying on the news or what people are telling me on YouTube. Got me fucked up, homie. We went and we looked at all that shit. You know what I mean? I wanted to scope and I wanted to dig through all of it. I wanted to make sure, if I'm gonna get my assessment, I want to know everything on the table. You know what I mean? Shit. Because motherfuckers be lying like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna take nobody's word for it. I'm gonna see the facts, homie. Now, and the facts say, from what I have read and everything that I had gathered and everything before everybody wants to be talking in the comments, like they always love to do, is that this is bullshit. 100% bullshit that they gave him 110 years. Hey, I'm not being biased or just because he's Raza. No. You don't get to play that shit on me. 110 years that was some bullshit. With no lie. Look. There's one thing I'm going to say. This is no conspiracy theory, no nothing. The Raza always gets screwed over in our justice system. They do. So do blacks. They do. Honest to God, they do. That's not a conspiracy. That's not me being biased. That's not me being, here's another one of these guys. Nah. That's 100% facts, homie. I dig through the fucking cases. I see everything. And here's the thing though. I don't only dig, because I dig through a lot of cases, right? Because all this stuff interests me. And those are the kind of videos that I like to watch, and and the research I like to do, because I like studying human behavior overall, right, in general, and this gives me an understanding and an insight into human behavior a little bit better. Why people make the decisions that they make, why people choose to judge other people, and etc. Right? It's perfect for human behavior, because you get so many different types of characters in one room, right? Because you have the judge who's somebody that's in power, and then you have the jury, who's seen as the kind-hearted people that they pick out and select, perfect for the job, whatever. Then you have the lawyers, then you have the defense and all of that, right? So you get a bunch of different, because they're all trying to do their jobs and stuff like that. But you get a whole bunch of different characters all in one location, and it makes it perfect to see how they interact with each other. Now, one having to defend themselves and one trying to prove a case. And this is no bullshit, is that if they're white and even if they're Asian, they get a much linear sentence. There's people that were texting and took in red lights and hit school buses and killed 4 children and have only gotten 6 to 8 years, and because they were white. You know what I mean? And this guy, because his brakes went out, and I do get it that there's protocols, there's the runaway ramps and all of that. I understand that there's protocols and stuff like that. But what people fail to always realize and understand is that when you're put in those fucking scenarios, you know, in any type of those scenarios, people act like like if you're able to fucking think. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? I guarantee you grab all them individuals and you put them in there, and their brains are not working now. Like, what the fuck? And you're carrying, you know, this lumber, and you're speeding up. My boy, panic's gonna set in, fear's gonna set in, all that shit's gonna set in. You're not gonna be like, oh, don't trip, I got this, you know, I'm gonna do, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're put in that scenario, it's a whole fucking different ball game. You know, people act like if they fucking, if I was mad, like, you would have just done that. Oh, is that right, huh? Yeah, whenever somebody's put in that scenario, it never goes down how you say you gonna have it, you know, how you say you were gonna do it. It never ends up that way. Stop with the bullshit. Come with the fucking facts. You know what I mean? You know, acting like if you were stuck in that scenario, you would have been able to do different. No, you wouldn't have. Stop. Who the fuck are you trying to fool? It is ridiculous. 110 years. He made a mistake, and I do realize people died. I do understand that. I do feel for the families, you know, because they're never gonna have their loved ones. And it was an accident. It was a mistake. You know what I mean? They're acting like this individual meant to. He has a family too. You know what I'm saying? What about his family? So a life for a life. Now it's okay to take this man's life because you're giving them 110 years. You're taking the vato's life. So a life for a life. So it's okay to take another person's life to replace your life, the life of the loved one you lost. What happened to, you know, like, oh, you know, don't do others to, you know, what others did to you and all of that shit. It's funny how all that shit always get thrown out the window when something bad now happens to you, right? All that fucking reason that you're always preaching and fighting for and crying out for. As soon as now something goes bad, you know, to you, all of a sudden all that shit goes out the window and it's like, fuck this motherfucker. What happened to peace and harmony and all of that? Now all of a sudden that flies out the window? It's funny how individuals think, yeah, they have the audacity to be always preaching and crying and complaining out there, talking about, yeah, there should be peace and, you know, it's wrong to take another person's life for another. Like, oh, stop. You're just as fucking guilty as everybody else on this fucking planet, you know, from the looks of it. People are funny, man. You know what I mean? As soon as now, you know, something bad happens to them, it's like, well, you know what? I hope he dies. Like, oh, now all of that shit's cool, huh? All right. But then you want to be complaining about us, what we be doing and how we be living our lives, huh? I was right there bitching and complaining. Like, y'all full of it. 110 years. Where's the rehabilitation right there for a mistake? That was a mistake. How about, like, you know, like there be punishment, right? Him do his time. That way, you know, he realizes for his mistakes and all of that. But like, try rehabilitating him. He's not a fucking criminal. He was working, bro. He wasn't intoxicated or nothing like that. Come on now. They act like the fool was drugged out or drunk or some shit like that. Like, but if it would have been a white person, it would have been cool. But because he's Hispanic, that gets added to it. Because he's Hispanic, he must have been doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing because he's Hispanic. Because apparently Hispanics don't know how to behave. Because that's how they see it. They're not gonna want to say it. That's how they fucking see it. They say they think we don't know how to behave, bro. They think we need babysitters. While they're Caucasian, they don't need no babysitters or what? What about all the serial killers? What about all the mass shooters? What about all the murderers? What about all those white supremacists? What about all those fools that be hanging fools, the biker gangs and all that? What about that? That doesn't count for nothing? To me, like I said, I don't treat no white person no different, no Asian, no nothing. Because there's been serial killers that are black, white, Asian, Mexican, all different races. So to me, everyone's fucking guilty. No one's innocent until proven, you know? But to me, I'm not just because he's raza, just because he's white, or just because he's black. Yeah, it has to be him. No? Says who? That's ridiculous to see life that way. And I know a majority of people see life that way. They won't want to admit it, but they're full of shit. There's no rehabilitation, not even trying to help the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is ridiculous. This whole court system in the United States is full of shit. It's not even funny. But hey, that's all we need. Our raza to be lawyers, to be people in power, to make decisions, to get up and vote and change some of these laws, because that's the only way you're gonna get changed, bro. Because you sitting in your couch and always complaining and whining about it ain't gonna make no difference. Time to build up a better future for the raza. Well, for people in general, but obviously here we're not seen as equal. When it's ridiculous, especially coming out of this area. You know what I'm saying? But 110 years. Honest to God, when I was viewing all of that and everything like that, I honestly don't know how they got 110 years out of that. I even went back to make sure, like, maybe I skipped something, maybe I missed something, maybe something must have slipped my head or something. But no, as many times as I went over and over and over again, I honestly don't know how they got 110 years out of that, bro. What the fuck? Like, the only other factor that possibly comes into my head that I didn't want to add this one to it, because honestly this thing is stupid and foolish, and I wanted not to believe in this, you know what I mean? Because I honestly don't understand, like, how this could even, people could still have this mentality or whatever. But the fact that he's Mexican, and that is the only factor that's into place. Because I was viewing some other cases, where similar, where individuals die, vehicular manslaughter and stuff like that, and I honestly don't know how they got 110 years. When there's been whites and other races that have gotten way less for way worse. This time people are not crying wolf. This time they're not over exaggerating or not. This time is legitimate what these fools are fighting for. I applaud all those truck drivers for not driving and stuff like that. I applaud them for taking a stand, because this is ridiculous. I do understand. I feel for the family. Like, that's gacho. They lost their loved ones and everything, but they act like this motherfucker was intoxicated. He meant to kill them. You know what I mean? It was an accident. Gacho. Should never happen. Hey, you know what I mean? But really, 110 years, bro. A life for a life, huh? I'm glad people see it that way. I'm glad they finally understand the street life and the street mentality, huh? Yeah, they hurt you, hurt them. That's right. I'm glad that you stand with us and how our mentality is. Being no different from a gang member now. Congratulations. But yeah, you think you better. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? This one is ridiculous. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. I don't know how they got 110 years out of that, bro. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. Shadow, yeah.